This train is loaded down with about 8,000 of these sandbags to simulate if it was full of people and their luggage. Why couldn't Rivera get help? Financial aid officials here at Berkeley didn't want to go on camera, but they did tell me that he could have applied for private loans. But with Rivera's credit, chances were slim that he would qualify. He could also have applied for unsubsidized federal loans, but he didn't want to burden his parents with more debt. The new policy opens up more leadership positions for women, but it's not yet clear how many women, including the officers in training here, will take advantage of the opportunity. Celebrating International Workers' Day, this community unites together in a march and rally for immigrant rights.
The immigrant rights movement and the labor movement are actually really connected to each other, right? Because a lot of the workers in the labor movement are immigrants or their families are immigrants, so it's very important to us.
The crowd stretches from International Street to East 12th, and the closing rally fills the Fruitvale Plaza. Hundreds came out for the regional march from San Francisco to Concord. Community members and leaders say they're marching for social change and justice, especially with more than 2 million people being deported. And that's under President Obama's administration alone. Today, they're here to support an end to deportation and police violence.
Well, why me? What am I doing wrong? What are millions of people doing wrong that they're viewed as criminals?
Opie Santos came to the U.S. from Mexico when he was just a year and a half old. He says growing up with the threat of deportation constantly on his shoulders still affects him.
It affects me close to my heart, just because I lived with the constant fear. Until we got our papers, every day was a constant fear of not knowing whether or not you were going to get home and your parents were going to be there.
Now a permanent resident, Santos belongs to a group that strives for governmental change to stop the separation and dislocation of families.
That's why I'm here, because it's got to put an end to it.
Reporting from Oakland, Tiffany Neely, CNS News. Sweat, dirt, and bees. Stanford law students went through it all for the SLS Day of Service.
We met in the law school. They provided us breakfast, and then we all were sort of sent deployed.
Deployed to projects like the one here at Almost Eden, a community garden in Palo Alto that grows food for low-income and homeless families, and where Anna Taub, a former Stanford graduate student, started volunteering 8 years ago.
It's all volunteer run, so only volunteers. We don't have any paid staff or anything like that.
This is the second year students are volunteering. About 120 of them are spread out to 7 different projects in the Bay Area. 25 are here at Almost Eden. Today they're transitioning the garden from winter to summer. Student Jennifer Williams volunteered for Habitat for Humanity last year and says she's enjoying the hard work today, even if it is a little different.
I accidentally chose the most strenuous activity. I've been shoveling wood chips for 2 hours, but it's been fun because you're with a bunch of friends and meeting new people.
But those 2 hours are worth a lot, because as far as big financial donors go,
It'd be great, but no, we haven't had that happen. What we have had is big donations of time, which is also really valuable.
time that results in produce going to Palo Alto's Food Closet and St. Anthony's in Redwood City, where they cook and pass out food for families in financial need. Reporting from Palo Alto, Tiffany Neely, CNS News.
There's certainly genius in West Oakland and in East Oakland and up in Richmond. And the one thing a country, if you're going to be in an information age, a technology age, the one thing you can't afford to do is waste genius.
Tonight, CNN Crossfire host and one-time Obama aide Van Jones talked about his newest program, Yes We Code, a program that aims to fix the issue of low diversity in Silicon Valley.
And part of fixing it is these hackathons that introduce young people to the fact that they can code, they can create their own ideas, and they can get them going. And that's what we're doing here.
In the building behind me, Yes We Code brings in local Bay Area professionals volunteering as mentors to work with students. Together, they develop apps that could help solve local issues. One of the program's national incentives is to teach more than 100,000 underprivileged youth to code. Youth at the event tonight say the one-on-one time with coaches is what helps them the most.
It's pretty cool to be able to meet the people that do this for a living and not just do it occasionally and look up how to do it on the internet or something.
And the people who do this for a living think it's much more than learning the language of the online world.
There's different pieces to it, not just the actual coding, but it's marketing, it's business operations, there's a legal piece to it as well.
More pieces mean more options, opportunities, and career paths to Silicon Valley.
And so now they get a chance to kind of think about what do I want to do? They have other things to consider besides just football or besides what they see on the TV.
Reporting from Oakland, Tiffany Neely, CNS News.
The artists are always the ones that come in first and change it. They see the statue within the rock.
That rock is Vallejo. Artists are flocking here, forced out by record rent costs in cities from San Francisco to Oakland.
My wife and I moved here 3 years ago from Oakland because we could buy a house here for cheaper than we were renting a house in Oakland.
Now, Chris Vardian owns the hub in Vallejo where artists can connect and showcase their work.
A number of things have happened and changed.
Frank Malifrando works with local artists and the city government. He says everything is coming together at just the right time.
Many of the art structures are being completed at the same time with the housing crisis and rent being so expensive in San Francisco.
Paving the way does come with challenges. Moves like these could dislocate artists from the core of metropolitan areas. This means less support for the artists. And when they do get together, they're talking about their living situations instead of their art. But the community here tells a different story.
When you're part of a new community, I think you have more of the ability to create an image and an expression than being part of a greater community.
And Vallejo's reputation is changing.
It used to be all you'd hear about in the paper were shootings or about prostitution or crime. It's already been changing the stories in the paper because we've started to create all sorts of great events, family events. People are coming out on the streets again, and it's safe.
Reporting from Vallejo, Tiffany Neely, CNS News.